It's been 10 years since Gulaga and Biamanga mountains and some of the surrounding lands were handed back to the traditional owners. And since that day, when the titles were returned to the Yuin people, the lands have been managed as two national parks within the one cultural landscape.
We argued very strongly with the negotiating that is very dear to us, that both mountains stay together.
Their job was to negotiate with the government, principally with National Parks and Wildlife Service on behalf of the Minister for the Environment, to negotiate a lease for Biamanga and for Gulaga, for the two national parks.
In the old days, we fought hard for the mountains and that, you know. But we stopped them logging up on the mountains. The forestry and all them wanted to log up, and we said, no way.
Often people will simply say the two mountains when talking about these parks, but they also mean the surrounding lands down to the sea.
The water is a giver of life. You know, you get your seafood there, and when you're down at Biamanga, where how the system works, you follow the estuaries up, you come to fresh water, you got fresh water, you follow the estuaries up there, you'll end up there on the top of Biamanga. And that's why I'm saying, that's why it's called the mountains meet the sea.
I was actually here in the late 70s when it was first mooted at Biamanga Mountain that sacred sites were being destroyed by logging activities. I was a ranger here, I'd only been here for about a year. It
brought great distress to the Yuin people to see sacred sites being damaged and even destroyed by the felling of trees.
The reason it is called Biamanga National Park, it's after Elder Jack Mumbler, whose traditional name was Biamanga.
I'm one of the few Blackfellas that got put through on that mountain through our ceremonies, and I do ceremonies on that mountain too. So I know what the connection is as strong as like it was all the time for centuries for our people in the past.
Gulaga Mountain is our mother and our spiritual identity. There are many sacred sites on Gulaga, especially those for women.
Gulaga cares for me as an Aboriginal woman, and it also then charges me with a responsibility as well to care for other women. And I think that's the essence of it.
A lot of people would argue that the significance is something that's actually been made up in an attempt to claim something that didn't really belong to us, but you only have to walk around on Gulaga and you'd have to be completely dead inside not to feel that there's something really, really special.
Biamanga National Park and Gulaga National Park were handed back in front of a large crowd under the watchful eye of Gulaga Mountain in 2006.
One important thing that you learn about culture, especially Aboriginal culture, or even in your own culture, you learn about yourself, who you are, what you are, and all that sort of thing. And when you come to the realisation of just who you are, you know, you're over the moon.
10 years is just a drop in the ocean of Yuin history. But over the last decade, we've seen some very significant achievements for our people, the wider community, and the two parks that are now under joint management.